Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. If you're enjoying the content and want to help us reach 1,000 subscribers, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support means everything as we grow this community together. Let's dive into today's topic because what's happening in Cleveland right now is absolutely wild, and you need to hear this. So here's what we're dealing with. The Cleveland Browns are in a fascinating position right now with their quarterback situation, and Mary Kay Cabot has been dropping some serious intel that's got everyone talking. The buzz around Shedeur Sanders has reached a fever pitch, and there's a reason for that. We're seeing a legitimate quarterback controversy brewing in Cleveland, and it's not the manufactured drama you usually get from sports media. This is real, and it's happening right now. Let's talk about what's actually going on inside the Browns facility. The reports coming out are painting a picture of a quarterback who's absolutely killing it in practice. We're talking about someone who's turning heads every single day, making throws that have coaches and personnel people sitting up and taking notice. The comparison that keeps coming up is between Sanders and the current starter, and that alone tells you everything you need to know about where this situation is headed. Now, the Browns didn't draft Sanders expecting him to sit on the bench all season. That's not how this works when you invest significant resources in a quarterback. But what's interesting here is the pace at which things are developing. Usually, you'd expect a rookie quarterback to need time to adjust to the speed of the professional game, to learn the playbook, to understand the nuances of NFL defenses. Sanders is apparently doing all of that at an accelerated rate, and people inside the building are genuinely impressed. The accuracy issue is something that deserves serious attention here. Cleveland has been dealing with quarterback accuracy problems for years now. It's been a constant thorn in their side, preventing the offense from reaching its potential. When you've got receivers running precise routes, and the ball isn't getting there on time or in the right spot, it destroys the entire rhythm of your offense. This has been the story in Cleveland for far too long, and it's exactly what Sanders brings to the table that has people so excited. Think about what accuracy really means at the NFL level. It's not just about completing passes, it's about ball placement, about giving your receivers a chance to make plays after the catch, about fitting throws into windows that close in fractions of a second. Sanders has shown that kind of precision throughout his college career, and from what we're hearing, he's bringing that same level of accuracy to the professional game. That's not something you can teach. Either a quarterback has touch and feel for where the ball needs to go, or they don't. The throwing motion and adaptability is another crucial element. Some quarterbacks are one-dimensional in how they deliver the football. They've got one release point, one arm angle, one velocity setting. That works fine until you face NFL defenses that know how to take away your strengths. Sanders has demonstrated the ability to vary his delivery based on what the situation requires. He can zip the ball in there when he needs velocity. He can loft it over defenders when touch is required. He can throw from different arm angles to create passing lanes that wouldn't otherwise exist. This versatility is absolutely critical in today's NFL. Defenses are too sophisticated, too fast, too well coached to allow quarterbacks to succeed with a limited skill set. You need to be able to adjust on the fly to recognize what the defense is giving you and respond with the appropriate throw. Sanders has that innate feel for the game, and it's showing up in practice every single day. Let's address the elephant in the room. Dillon Gabriel is the current starter, and the Browns invested in him with certain expectations. Nobody's saying he's been terrible or that he can't play at this level, but the reality is that the bar for quarterback play in the NFL is incredibly high, and if you're not meeting that standard, teams have to make difficult decisions. The Browns are in a situation where they have a potential franchise quarterback sitting behind a veteran who hasn't quite elevated the offense the way they hoped. This creates a delicate balancing act for the coaching staff and front office. You don't want to pull the plug on your starter too quickly and damage his confidence or create unnecessary controversy, but you also can't afford to waste time if you've got someone on the roster who gives you a better chance to win games. The Browns are trying to thread that needle right now, and it's not an easy position to be in. The practice reports are where things get really interesting. When you've got coaches and scouts watching practice every day, they're seeing things that fans never get to see. They're watching footwork, decision making, how quickly a quarterback processes information, how he handles pressure in the pocket. All of those details matter, and apparently Sanders is excelling in all those areas. The 7-on-7 drills that have been mentioned are particularly telling because they strip away some of the chaos and allow you to evaluate pure passing ability. If Sanders is consistently outperforming performing the starter in those settings, that sends a clear message. It means he's got the arm talent, the accuracy, the decision-making ability to operate at a high level. Now, 7-on-7 isn't a perfect simulation of game conditions, but it's a valuable tool for evaluating quarterback play, and the fact that Sanders is thriving in those situations is significant. The completion percentage from college is worth examining more closely. A 74% completion rate at the college level is genuinely elite. That's not a product of playing in a system that inflates numbers or only taking safe throws. That's a quarterback who understands how to read defenses, who knows where his outlets are, who can make quick decisions and deliver accurate passes. Those skills translate to the NFL, and that's why the Browns are so intrigued by what they're seeing from Sanders. There's been some criticism that Sanders is too conservative with the football, that he prioritizes completion percentage over taking shots downfield. That's a lazy analysis that doesn't hold up when you actually watch the tape. Yes, Sanders takes care of the football. Yes, he makes smart decisions and doesn't force throws into coverage, but he's also capable of pushing the ball downfield when the opportunity presents itself. The key is that he knows when to take those chances and when to check it down and live to see another play. Ball security is a feature, not a bug. Turnovers absolutely kill you in the NFL. They swing field position, they give opponents short fields, they deflate your team and energize the opposition. A quarterback who understands the value of protecting the football is someone you can build around. Sanders has that mentality, and it's exactly what Cleveland needs after years of inconsistent quarterback play that often included costly turnovers at the worst possible times. The arm talent discussion is crucial because that's ultimately what separates good quarterbacks from great ones. You can be smart, you can make good decisions, you can have great leadership qualities, but if you don't have the physical tools to make all the throws, you're going to be limited at the NFL level. Sanders has legitimate arm strength. He can drive the ball into tight windows. He can make throws from different platforms and arm angles. He's got the physical ability to execute the full playbook. But it's not just about raw arm strength. Touch is equally important, and that's where Sanders really shines. The ability to take something off a throw when necessary, to drop a pass over a linebacker's head and into a receiver's hands in the end zone, to feather a ball down the sideline where only your guy can get it. That's advanced quarterbacking. Sanders has shown that kind of touch throughout his career, and it's a skill that translates beautifully to the professional level. The character and personality aspect cannot be overlooked. Football is the ultimate team sport, and quarterback is the ultimate leadership position. You need someone who can command respect in the locker room, who can handle adversity, who can stay composed when things aren't going well. Sanders brings all of that to the table. The reports about how he interacts with teammates, how he carries himself, how he handles the pressure and expectations, all of that paints a picture of someone who's mature beyond his years. The relationship with veterans like Joe Flacco is particularly noteworthy. Flacco has been around the league for a long time. He's won a Super Bowl. He's seen everything there is to see in this league. The fact that he's embraced Sanders and that they've developed a good working relationship says a lot about Sanders' character and his ability to connect with people from different backgrounds and experiences. Now let's talk about the external pressure, because that's a real factor that the Browns have to manage. Sanders comes with a built-in fan base that's passionate and protective. That's both an asset and a challenge for the organization. On one hand, having that kind of support and enthusiasm is fantastic. It energizes the fan base. It creates buzz. It puts people in seats. On the other hand, it creates expectations and pressure that can be difficult to manage. The Browns have to be careful about how they handle this situation. They can't let external noise dictate their football decisions, but they also can't completely ignore the reality that Sanders has massive support from a vocal portion of their fan base. It's a tricky situation that requires skilled communication and careful handling from the coaching staff and front office. What makes Sanders special isn't just one thing, it's the complete package. He's got the physical tools, the mental makeup, the leadership qualities, the work ethic, the character. All of those elements combined create a quarterback who has legitimate franchise potential. That's what has the Browns so excited, and that's why the internal buzz around Sanders continues to grow. The development timeline is what everyone wants to know about. When does Sanders actually get on the field? When does he get his opportunity to show what he can do in actual game situations? The reality is that nobody outside the Browns organization knows for certain, but all signs point to it happening sooner rather than later. The progress he's made, the way he's performed in practice, the growing belief within the organization that he's ready, all of that suggests we're going to see Sanders taking meaningful snaps before this season is over. The Dolphins game keeps getting mentioned as a potential landing spot for Sanders' first start, and that would make sense on multiple levels. It gives Gabriel some time to prove himself and show that he deserves to keep the job. It gives Sanders more time to continue developing and learning the offense. And it creates a natural checkpoint where the Browns can evaluate where they are and make a decision about moving forward. But here's the thing about quarterback controversies. They rarely resolve themselves neatly. Someone has to make a decision, and that decision is going to make some people unhappy. If the Browns stick with Gabriel and he continues to struggle, they're going to face intense criticism for not playing Sanders. If they make the switch to Sanders and he struggles early, they'll be second-guessed for rushing him into action. There's no perfect answer, which is why these situations are so challenging for coaches and front offices. The broader context here is that Cleveland has been searching for a franchise quarterback for decades. They've tried everything. They've drafted quarterbacks high. They've signed veterans. They've taken flyers on reclamation projects. Nothing has worked long term. The possibility that Sanders could be the answer to that decades-long search is why there's so much excitement and anticipation around him. Championship teams are built around great quarterback play. That's the reality of the modern NFL. You need someone who can elevate the players around him, who can make plays when the structure breaks down, who can win games with his arm and his mind. Sanders has shown flashes of all those qualities, and if he can bring them consistently at the NFL level, the Browns could have something special on their hands. The adaptation to the professional game is always the big question mark with rookie quarterbacks. The speed is different, the complexity is different, the athletes are better, the coaching is more sophisticated. Some guys make that adjustment quickly, others struggle, and some never quite figure it out. From everything we're hearing, Sanders is in that first category. He's processing information quickly, he's making good decisions, he's showing that he belongs at this level. Practice performance only tells you so much though. Game situations are different. The pressure is real, the consequences matter, and things happen fast. But practice is where you build the foundation. It's where you develop timing with receivers, where you learn the playbook, where you start to understand how to read NFL defenses. Sanders is doing all of that work, and he's doing it at a high level. The team's long-term vision is fascinating to think about. If Sanders develops into the quarterback they believe he can be, you're talking about having a cornerstone piece in place for the next decade or more. That changes everything about how you build your roster, how you allocate resources, what your championship window looks like. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. First, Sanders has to prove he can play at the NFL level, and that can only happen when he gets actual game opportunities. The coaching staff deserves credit for how they're handling this situation. They're being patient, they're letting Sanders develop, they're not rushing him into action before he's ready. At the same time, they're recognizing his progress and understanding that at some point you have to let your young players play. Finding that balance is critical, and so far the Browns seem to be managing it well. What happens over the next few weeks will be absolutely crucial for Cleveland's future. The decisions they make about their quarterback position will reverberate for years. If they make the right call and Sanders becomes the player they think he can be, we'll look back at this as a pivotal moment in franchise history. If they mishandle it somehow, whether by playing him too soon or waiting too long, that could set them back significantly. The bottom line is this: Shedeur Sanders is a legitimate NFL quarterback prospect who's making real progress and earning the respect of people within the Browns organization. The hype is real, the talent is real, and the potential is real. Now it's just a matter of seeing how it all plays out when he actually gets on the field and faces real NFL competition. That's when we'll truly know what the Browns have in Sanders, and whether he can be the franchise quarterback they've been searching for all these years. The excitement is building, the anticipation is growing, and Cleveland fans have every reason to be optimistic about what Sanders might bring to their team.